All right. So in this session, we're going to discuss about Unity. So Unity, as you know, it's a comprehensive game development platform which offers an immense range of tools that extend beyond coding. It integrates design, uh, animation, audio, and environment creation tools, making it a versatile choice for game developers. So, this topic will explore the foundational aspects of game creation within Unity. So, focusing on making the first game experience interactive. Uh, so, we have a topic called game design primer. So game design is a art of crafting the rules, mechanics, and the story of a game, ensuring it's engaging and enjoyable. While coding is the backbone, the design is the heart, influencing how players perceive and interact with your game. Uh, We'll touch on the basic design principles, including gameplay mechanics, narrative development, and player experience design. Understanding these elements is crucial for creating a game that players will love and remember. And when it comes to building a level, so creating a game level involves defining the playable area and the challenges or uh, tasks the players will face. So in Unity, this means constructing the scene with game objects, terrain, and other environmental elements. So we'll explore how to lay out and design a level that complements your game's mechanics and narrative, providing a uh, comprehensive and immersive experience. And so game objects and prefabs, sorry. So game objects are basically the core building blocks in Unity, representing the characters, props, scenery. So prefabs are basically reusable game objects templates that you can instantiate multiple times within your game, ensuring consistency and efficiency in game development. We'll also discuss how to create, manipulate, and utilize game objects and prefabs to populate your game world. And we'll also discuss about lighting techniques. So lighting is in Unity can transform a scene from flat, lifeless to dynamic and atmospheric. So it affects not only the visuals but also the mood and the tone of your game. So we'll cover the basics of Unity's lighting system, including the types of lights, lighting effects, and optimization techniques to make your game look its best while performing smoothly. And we'll also discuss about animation. So Unity's animation system allows you to bring characters and objects to life, adding a layer of polish and realism to your game. We'll introduce the Unity animator, animation clips, and how to control animations through code, whether it's simple object movement or complex character animation. You'll learn to animate within the Unity environment. And we'll also discuss about particle system. Particle system in Unity is a powerful tool for creating visual effects, from simple smoke to and fire to complex interactive systems. We'll explore how to create and configure particle systems to enhance the visual appeal of your game, adding the extra flair that can captivate your audience. So this topic lays the groundwork for transforming your game from concept to playable reality, emphasizing on Unity's role in streamlining the game development process. So next topic is game design, foundations of game design. So game design serves as a foundational blueprint for developing a game, encapsulating everything from its core concept to detailed mechanics. It's the roadmap guiding you from game's initial idea to its final execution, ensuring consistency in vision and play experience. So let's break down the key concepts, key critical components of game design. First one is the concept. So, concept, the overarching idea or the theme of the game, defining its genre, how it's meant to be played. This sets the tone for the entire development process. and core mechanics. So these are uh, these are the interactions and actions available to the players, such as jumping, shooting, puzzle solving. So they are the building blocks of gameplay, dictating how players interact with the game world. And next one we have control schemes. So control schemes, which are basically a detailed plans of the game control, specifying how players will navigate and execute actions within the game. Next comes story. So the narrative, which is the story, is the narrative backbone of the game, providing context, motivations, and emotional depth uh, to the gameplay, um, enriching the player's experience. We have art style. So art style is basically it defines the visual representation and aesthetic of the game, ensuring a cohesive look that complements the game's theme and story. And we have win and loss conditions. So the criteria that defines the success and the failure in the game, offering the players clear objectives and stakes. uh, so we have our next topic is game design document, GDD. So it's a basically this is a comprehensive document or a guide that encapsulates all these elements. It varies in detail and length based on the project's complexity, but serves as a definitive guide for the development. Although the format of GDD, game design document, can vary, its purpose remains to clearly convey the game's design to the entire development team, ensuring everyone shares the same vision. So for simpler projects or initial pitches, one page document might suffice, but providing a snapshot of game's core concept, mechanics, and unique selling points. So this concise format is ideal for capturing the essence of the game for marketing or a quick reference. So understanding these elements and the documents is crucial for game developers. They ensure they not only have a clear vision for your game, but also a structured approach to bringing it to life. So that's about game design. Next, we'll discuss about Unity level design. So building a level in Unity is an engaging process that empowers you to craft the environment. So sorry about that. So yeah, building a level in Unity is an engaging process that empowers you to craft the environment in which players will experience your game. So we have so how to approach it with an eye on gameplay and player experience and environment interaction. Uh, Consider what players will see and how they'll interact with the environment. Every element should enhance the game's feel and immersion, and also maintain a consistent theme and logic within your game world to avoid breaking immersion. And there are Unity's tools for level design, which is for outdoors. You can use Unity's terrain tool, which offers comprehensive options for landscape design. uh, Useful resources include like Unity's documentation and terrain toolkit. I think it's 2017 on the Unity's asset store for more sophisticated terrain features. And we have primitives for indoor settings, for indoor or arena like settings. We have Unity provides a primitives, which is basic shapes that are perfect for uh, prototyping. These simple shapes can be quickly turned into game elements without needing detailed um, without needing detailed 3D modeling skills. And Importing models, so 3D models. So Unity allows importing 3D models from software like Blender, enabling the use of custom assets in your game. Um, so so to create your level, first decide if your game will be set outdoors, indoors, or a combination. So this choice will dictate the tools and assets uh, you'll use, and then you'll be creating primitives. Unity's primitive game objects are accessible by in the let me show you. In the hierarchy panel, you'll have go to create 3D object. You have number of 3D 3D models, 3D objects, which these are the basic shapes like cubes, spheres, and planes that can be used to quickly sketch out your game's environment. And you can start by creating a solid foundation by creating a plane. uh, so this is my plane. I've already built a basic structure so that it will be it's time consuming to build everything in the class. So I just uh, uh, took a basic build so that you'll get an idea of how this looks. So yeah, start with a solid foundation by adding a plane to serve as a ground. uh, I've named it as floor. This plane acts as a physical barrier, obeying the Unity's physics rules, preventing objects from falling through. So for a simple game like a Hero Born, an outdoor arena setting can be quickly set up using the Unity's primitives. Uh, so first, as I mentioned, you go to create 3D objects plane in the hierarchy, and this will creates a arena's floor. Rename it like something like I've named it as floor. You can rename it as ground or something like that for clarity, and adjust its scale. I've already adjusted it, but you could yeah, to create a good looking floor, adjust its scale to make it larger, ensuring ample space for character movement and gameplay activities. So, and if necessary, tweak the intensity of the directional light to ensure the environment is well lit and inviting. So by starting with simple shapes and gradually adding complexity, you can create engaging levels and resonate with your game's concepts and mechanics. So this approach also allows for easy adjustments and iterations, making the level design process both flexible and creative. So So next is 3D space, understanding 3D space in Unity. So understanding 3D space in Unity is crucial for developing engaging and immersive games. So Unity's 3D environment is navigated and manipulated using three primary axes: x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. X-axis is which is red, which represents horizontal movement or width. Y-axis, which is green, which represents vertical movement or height. And we have z-axis, which represents depth, allowing objects to move closer or further from the camera, which is blue. Let me open and show it here. So yeah, if you can see green, blue, that's red. Yeah. So those are your axes. And when you select an object in Unity, as I showed here, its transforms component displays these axes as colored arrows, enabling you to easily visualize and adjust objects position, rotation, and scale in 3D space. So uh, we have in the inspector panel on the right side, if you see, we have position. So position determines the location of an object within the scene. Changing an object's position moves it to different coordinates along x, y, z axis. And we have rotation. Rotation controls the orientation of an object. Rotating an object tilts it around the XYZ axis, changing how it faces. And we have scale, as I mentioned, which affects the size of an object. Scaling an object enlarges or shrinks it along the XYZ axis. And Unity offers two reference spaces for determining these properties, world space and local space. So world space uses the scene's origin point, which is 0, 0, uh, as a universal reference of for all game objects. This is useful for positioning objects relative to the scene itself. And we have local space, which is basically uses an object's parent transform as its reference point. So this is particularly useful for positioning objects relative to the other objects, such as a sword in character's hand. Yeah, you'll get a better understanding of world space and local space when you actually build a game, or when you're working on an assignment. So switching perspectives in the scene view helps understand how objects are situated in relation to each other and the environment, enhancing your ability to craft detailed and realistic game worlds. Unity scene view offers tools and visual aids like the axis icon to toggle between these perspectives, aiding in the precise placement and orientation of the game objects. So this foundational understanding of 3D space is essential for game development in Unity, allowing for the creation of dynamic and engaging game levels that fully utilize the depth and complexity of the 3D environment. So that's about 3D space. Next is materials. So materials in Unity are what gives objects their appearance, uh, influenced by colors, textures, and lighting. So when you start with a game object like our floor or ground plane, it has a default material that's that's uh, that's typically a bland neutral color, but I've added a material so don't worry about it. So this is where the concept of shaders comes into play. So shaders are basically scripts that handle the rendering of the materials on the screen, combining lighting, color, and texture data to create the final look of an object. There's a uh, so to personalize your game world, you can create your materials in Unity. So let's break down the steps to change the ground color, which can be applied to any object in your scene. So if you go to assets, in the project plane, you'll right click to open a context menu and go to create, and you'll find material. So material, this action creates a new material. Let's put it as test. Yeah. Yeah, new material asset in your project, and name this material appropriately, such as for if you're adding a material for the floor, you could name it as like floor mat to reflect its purpose or the object it will associate with. And select the newly created material and look for the uh, albedo albedo property in the inspector panel. Albedo controls the basic color of the material. Clicking the color box here opens up a next to the albedo, uh, opens a color picker, allowing you to choose any color you desire. So for our floor, I've already put a color, but yeah, you could try a different. Let's pick blue. uh, yeah, so you can drag this to drop on the floor for the floor object. I've already put a different color, but yeah, I've changed it to blue right now. So yeah, from the project you'll basically drag the material from the project plane to the ground game object. In the hierarchy panel, this action assigns the material to the object, instantly changing its color in the scene. So by following these steps, you're not only you not only change the color of the ground plane but also created a reusable asset. So I could, yeah, so this is what I meant. So any game object can use this material. uh, Gonna change it. Uh, so any game object can use this material, and any adjustments made to this material will update all objects it's applied to simultaneously. So this process underscores the power of the materials in shaping the visual aspects of your game, enabling you to create more engaging and visually appealing environments. And next topic is white boxing. So whiteboxing is the initial stage in level design where you outline the basic structure of your game environment using simple placeholders placeholder objects. So this method is crucial for visualizing the space, understanding the player movement, and planning the gameplay experience without distraction of detailed assets. It's about getting the feel for the level's layout, flow, and functionality early in the development process. So sketching your ideas before jumping into Unity is beneficial step. It doesn't matter how refined your drawings are. What's important is translating your vision onto paper to clarify your design intentions. So this sketch will serve as a reference as you start building your level in Unity, guiding your placement of objects and overall design. And the Unity editor tools are essential for effective white boxing. These tools allow you to manipulate game objects within your scene for positioning, rotation, scaling, and more. So familiarize yourself with these will streamline the process of building your level. So we have a hand tool which navigates around the scene. uh, this is your hand tool. uh, View tool. We have a move tool, uh, which uh, which repositions objects from along the X, Y, Z axis. And we have a rotate tool, sorry, which adjusts the orientation of the objects. We have a scale tool, which changes the size of the objects. And we have a rect tool, rect transform tool for UI elements combining movement, rotation, and scaling. And we have a uh, so so these tools, you can simultaneously adjust position, rotation, and scale. Yeah, this is your transform tool, rect transform tool. So additionally, understanding the scene's navigation is vital. You can use right mouse button and WASD keys for fly through mode to explore your scene. You can press F to focus on selected objects. Uh, so yeah, which is helpful for quick zooms and object inspection. So you can start by creating a basic ground plane to define your levels boundaries. From there, use the primitives like cubes, planes to block out your level according to your sketch. So these primitives will form the basic of your level's geometry, from walls and barriers to platforms and obstacles. So by understanding materials, you can add color or basic textures to these primitives, enhancing visual differentiation and further refining the look of your prototype level. This process not only aids in visualizing the shape, but also in planning gameplay mechanics and movement within the environment. Remember that whiteboxing is about exploration and iteration. Don't hesitate to adjust your layout as you go, experimenting with different configurations until you find what best serves your game design and gameplay objectives. So let's go to the next topic. Next topic is again level building and management in Unity. So white boxing to effectively create and manage game levels in Unity, understanding the practical aspects of white boxing and hierarchy organization and utilizing Unity's editor tools are essential skills. So first, as I mentioned, white boxing is a critical phase in game development where you lay out the basic structure of your game environment using simple geometric objects such as cubes for walls. This method allows you to focus on the levels layout and gameplay interaction without getting bogged down by detailed assets. So in Unity, this can be done by creating primitives like you can use the, as I mentioned, you can use the primitives you can use Unity's built-in geometric shapes to represent the physical space of your game. For an arena, you might start with a ground plane and then add cube objects around its parameters. These are the basically cubes around its parameter to serve as walls. So and yeah, experimenting with tools. I employ Unity's toolbars like move, rotate, scale to position and adjust your primitives. So this the hands-on experience is invaluable for getting comfortable with Unity's 3D space manipulation. So make sure you experiment with these tools. So as your scene grows with more objects, keeping the hierarchy keeping the hierarchy organized becomes crucial. Uh, this ensures your project remains manageable and you can easily locate and modify game objects. So to tidy up, you can create an empty object there's an empty create empty. So that's an empty object. So as you can see, environment, it's an empty object. So in that, which basically the empty object serves as a parent container for related objects. For example, you can group the ground plane walls under the same object and name it as environment. If you can see, so everything is an environment. So this not only cleans up the hierarchy but also simplifies us moving or scaling the entire level. So for example, you can just move the entire scene, entire arena anywhere you want, because we have created a parent empty object. So also ensure your game object, which position is parent game object, which is the environment, is set to 000 to maintain a consistent and logical structure. So child's position will be relative, uh, will be will be uh, will be relative to their parent, making it easier to manage their placement and scene in the scene. So yeah, practice by constructing a wall, uh, by constructing your level. Start by positioning walls around the arena to define its boundaries, adjust their scale and rotation to fit the layout you envision. There's no right or wrong here. It's about experimenting and seeing what works for your game's design. So after setting up the levels of basic, organize your scene by grouping objects under a parent game object. This practice not only keeps your workspace orderly but also reinforms reinforces your game sorry good project management habits. So Through these exercises, you're not just building a game level, you're learning the foundational skills of game design and scene management in Unity. So the process of whiteboxing allows you to iterate on your games design rapidly by organizing the hierarchy, ensuring your project remains navigable and maintainable. Remember, the key to mastering Unity is practice and exploration. So don't hesitate to experiment with different layouts, tools, and organization strategies. Um Next topic is prefabs. So prefabs in Unity serves as a cornerstone for effective game development, allowing you to create, configure, and reuse game objects across your scenes with ease. So So the prefabs are essentially basically templates of game objects that include all child objects, components, and settings. They enable you to maintain consistency across your your game by allowing any changes made to prefab to be reflected across all its instances. For that, you start by assembling your game object in the scene with all desired components and child objects. For a torrent, you might combine several primitive shapes to form its structure. Uh, let's see if yeah, I do have yeah torrent. So you so organize your game objects in the scene, ensuring they are parented correctly. Uh, yeah, that's your prefab. Yeah, let's go back again. So basically, you drag the parent game object, your torrent, into a dedicated prefab folder. So and basically you'll this action dragging uh, the game object from hierarchy to the project plane will convert your game object into a prefab, indicating by its name, turning to blue in the hierarchy panel. And you can edit prefabs directly in the scene by adjusting their instances, or by opening a prefab itself by editing. So changes made to the prefab are automatically propagated to all its instances, ensuring uniformity across your game. So the advantage of prefabs is you can easily duplicate and reuse prefabs across your scene, saving time and ensuring consistency, and also update multiple instances of an object by editing a single prefab. And it keeps your project organized and manageable by storing prefabs in a dedicated folder. So in our scenario, creating turrets for an arena, prefabs allow you to design one torrent and replicate it. As you can see, I have like four of them. Yeah, prefabs allows you to design one torrent and replicate it across four corners. This process not only streamlines the level design, but also simplifies further modifications to the torrent design. So by incorporating prefabs into your uh, Unity projects, you embrace a workflow that is both flexible and powerful, enabling rapid iteration and consistency across your games, environments, and elements. So next topic is level design and prefab management. So to update and utilize prefabs in Unity, you you'll when adding new elements to a prefab, such as a cube to fill a gap in a turret, the added elements are initially not part of the original prefab. So they appear gray in with a plus icon in the hierarchy, indicating their pending inclusion. So to officially include the new object in the prefab, you right click on a new element and go to add the game object, added game object, and apply prefab, like, for example, barrier 1. So this action updates the prefab to include the new element, making the entire prefab hierarchy blue again. This process ensures your prefab reflects the latest design, incorporating the new cube into the turret for better coverage or aesthetic appeal. And for updating your prefab, you can duplicate it to place identical structures throughout your level. So this is particularly useful for creating a symmetrical design or repeating elements without redoing the work. For example, if you have designed a turret as a defensive structure, you can duplicate the prefab and position each copy uh, strategically across your game level, and such as every corner of an arena. This method not only saves time but also maintains consistency in your game's design. So you can begin by duplicating turret prefab and uh, placing each duplicate in a different area corner, aligning your levels design concept. And you can create a new environment piece like a raised platform using a cube, or for the using the cube for the platform, and a plane reshaped into a ramp. So these steps involve scaling, rotating, positioning the objects to form a cohesive structure that matches your level's layout. And when you can duplicate the ramp to create multiple access points to the platform, ensuring that there is enough entry and exit points for the player's navigation. So with the structural elements in place, you can consider adding interactive items like health pickups. Uh, Create these items as a separate prefabs, so they can be easily placed and reused within your level or in future levels. So by following these steps, you can effectively use prefabs to build and update your game level in Unity. So creating a playable and visually appealing environment for your players. This hands-on approach to level design allows for flexibility in game development, enabling you to iterate on your design as needed. Uh, Next topic is designing an interactive game elements like the health pickup creation. So to effectively create a simple yet effective game element in Unity like a health pickup, you can follow a straightforward creation and the prefab process. So let's see how we can create a pickup item that any player would recognize and know to interact with. So in Unity, pickup, yeah. Yeah, this is my health pickup. So in Unity Editor, your first action is to create a new 3D element. Going to primitives, a capsule. I think a capsule game object is visually interesting and suitable for health pickup. So this is basically a capsule, uh, and yeah, go to the game object menu and select 3D object, and then capsule to add it to your game scene. So with the created capsule game object, place it some within your game world, where it's easily visible and accessible to the player. So the item should not be out of reach or blend into black backdrop. You can fine tune the position and scale settings in the inspector panel after selecting the object. Aim for small yet noticeable model. Next, bring your game artifact to life with color. So give this health pickup yellow or red. color radiating an air of first aid or well-being. And yeah, as you know, the process for creating a material, right click on the project plane, materials, sorry, create materials. I've already created a material, I think. Yeah, so yeah, this is my health pickup material. I've named it as health color. So yeah, and you basically drag this material from the project plane onto the capsule object in the scene or hierarchy panel. So after assigning the item, turn it into a prefab for efficiency. So this way, the design interaction mechanic and anything other required by the health pickup object can be reused and redeployed by simply just dragging it from the project. Let me go. Yeah, this is my. I've already converted into a prefab. So yeah, you can drag the design game object from your scene hierarchy panel directly into a folder created for prefab purposes. So this object will effectively become a new unique template for in-game use, used to repurpose in later design or read runtime, ensuring uniformity and time saving capacity for every instance you put back in the digital content you're focusing on. So observe the conceptualization of the humble capsule game object transforming into a meaningful in-game property. So from a greenhorn piece to a bright, powerful in-world tool, the health pickup not only aids your in-game experience but also consummates the shift into a cubic universe with quest-worthy knowledge. So this project is for creating a primary prop like health pickup in Unity, uh, typifies the it's an early fork that tests the interlude between game design's ideation and its in-game presence. Uh, Not only do you end up with a functional game asset, but also takes a step further in understanding the Unity's editor tools, bridging the gap from novice to adept. So through these steps, you ensure that in-game experience, the character health regeneration in this case, becomes both practical and practical quest you're on to build. So the visual, uh, so yeah, and so we'll discuss the rest of the topics in the next session. So that's the end of this session.